he know that his deskmate Minamikawa-san was onto his secret? He remains clueless that his crush is actually a mind reader? She catches wind of his thoughts about fancying her. The revelation of his feelings leaves her completely flabbergasted of all the secrets her mind reading could reveal. Crushes gossip, even test answers she had to uncover this one. Since childhood, Minami has had the unique ability to hear people's thoughts. She can pick up every stray thought that crosses someone's mind, from the mundane to the bizarre. Over time, she has learned to tune out the constant mental chatter of those around her. Especially since she entered high school, it no longer bothers her. However, things are different when it comes to Takam Moran as Takamori muses about her being cute. Her heart pounds as she quickly shakes her head, trying to block him out. Despite his bluntness, he's popular with the girls coming out of her thoughts. She glances at him sitting beside her as no boy. Her said that to her before her own thoughts start overwhelming her, and without realizing it, she mentally yells at Takamori to get a hold of himself. When he turns towards her in confusion, she immediately freezes, inhaling deeply, trying to compose herself. She mentally scolds herself for almost letting out a dangerous reaction. She must stay calm and ignore it just as she always does, as she tries to gather herself an eraser from Takamori's hand, slips and falls to the ground. Picking it up, she turns to him and asks if he dropped it. Takamori looks at her with a puzzled expression before thanking her as she hands him the eraser. He catches a close glimpse of her, his mind racing with excitement. He finds her kind for picking up his eraser, believing that it's love. Minami, hearing these thoughts, loud and clear, turns red with embarrassment, small beads of sweat forming on her forehead. Tori is staring directly at her, lost in his own emotions. Quickly, he averts his gaze, mutters thanks, and mentally scolds himself for staring too much. Minami picks up on both his words and his thoughts. The dual realization overwhelms her, and she suddenly places her hands over her ears, internally screaming. She is so embarrassed that she can't take this. Takamori, completely unaware of her distress, continues thinking about her and decides that the eraser she handed him must now become an heirloom, and feels like steam is about to escape from her ears. The endless stream of these thoughts about her is too much in her mind. She starts vividly imagining him saying those love words directly to her. The sheer embarrassment of it all makes her feel like she is about to die from mortification. If this were happen, she thinks that the cause of death would undoubtedly be listed as death of embarrassment. A memory flashes through her mind, a time when her teacher had patted her on the head. That small moment of physical contact had embarrassed her so much that she had almost lost her composure. But this was on a completely different level. Nani tries to steady herself as she continues to hear Takamori's thoughts. A bashful person like her is in danger. Right now, she closes her eyes, resting her forehead against her hand. In the first place, she's also at fault. Selfishly reading his mind, a wave of guilt washes over her. She silently apologizes to Takamori in her heart. Over time, she has learned to ignore the insults as annoying, ugly, stupid words she has heard from countless minds. She always chose to endure them. Yet now, instead of blocking thoughts, she finds herself secretly listening to Takamori's heartfelt ones. Perhaps she thinks it would be better if she simply ignored his thoughts. It would be better if she had to listen to her insult or anything else. Manny stands lost, at thought, considering a bold idea. What if she could make Takamori hate her? The thought deepens, and she envisions the scenario if he starts to despise her. If he begins saying harsh things, she can simply ignore him. But then she hesitates. If she just declares that she hates him, wouldn't that be strange? It's not like she's confessing anything, but still the thought lingers. Just then, Takamori asks her for a favor, requesting to see the materials. Minami recognizes this as her chance. She pauses before finally replying that she doesn't mind, but the moment the words leave her mouth, she scolds herself internally that this was her opportunity to refuse. Abruptly, she changes her stance and firmly states that he cannot see the materials. She pats herself on the back, convinced she sees it, all the while imagining Takamori rolling his eyes at her and mentally draying hate mail about her selfish ways. However, as she waits for his reaction, she suddenly feels an overwhelming sense of embarrassment. Perhaps she overreacted, but instead of looking annoyed, Takamori stares at her deep in thought, and then his mind echoes in her ears as he finds her unbelievably cute. Shock washes over Mami. She listens further as Takamori mentally praises her cold attitude, believing great things will come from it. With newfound determination, he simply responds with a casual agreement as Minami feels her heart start to sprint. She can't help but wonder, why did he just agree to this? So easily, feeling a wave of guilt, she quickly blurts out an apology for fibbing about the materials and hands over her notebook. He thanks her, but his inner thoughts betray his true feelings as he loves that she can be playful. And he feels the heat rush to her face. She can't take any more of this. If only Takamori would stop thinking so much. The school bell finally rings, marking the end of class. Relief floods Minami as she dashes out of the room, heading straight for the girls' restroom. She tries to clear her mind, but the thoughts persist. She scolds herself internally, questioning how he could think so much. It makes her head spin. She's never experienced this level of affection, and it's overwhelming her. If she doesn't do something fast, her mind will explode. She decides there's no other choice. She must make him hate her determined. She calls Takamori to the rooftop, steeling herself for what must be done when he arrives. He casually says it's fine and asks what she wants to talk about inside. He's thrilled Minami called him to the rooftop. Could it be? He wonders if this is a confession. Minami suppresses her nerves, meets his gaze, and asks what he thinks of her. This is it. She believes the best way to make a boy hate her is to force him to confess, then reject him as harshly as possible. Reassuring herself, she convinces herself it's fine. Even if he ends up hating her, but Takamori becomes incredibly nervous. His mind becomes a whirlwind of emotions. He listens, trying to process his thoughts, but it's too much. All he is thinking about is how wonderful she is, how much he admires her. The overwhelming praise is too much for her to handle, and before she knows it, she loses her balance and faints. Takamori instinctively reaches out and asks if she's okay. Minami, clutching her head, XA, that she is dying. Takamori doesn't understand what she means, confused by her reaction. Meanwhile, she fumes internally, frustrated beyond belief. She silently vests to crack the code and get him to chill out, and thus, their heart-throbbing story truly begins.